Hi, guys. This is Dan. Welcome to Engelgeist. For those of you that are new, welcome. For those of you that are returning, welcome back. For those of you that support me over on Patreon, thank you so very much. This is the daily forecast for all signs. It is originally created for May 16th. It's the full moon in Scorpio, guys. So it's the flower moon. That's nice. That sounds real pretty, but I don't trust it. It's Scorpio. Like, you can't trust how that's a Scorpio. I mean, I love Scorpios. Don't get me wrong, but they some deep motherfuckers. Like they don't always come forth with what's really going on. So expect to be dredging up some emotional stuff during this time. Expect to be letting go because it's the full moon. Expect that it could feel real wonky and displaced because Mercury is in retrograde in the sign of Taurus, which can like mean fundamentals and be pushy, stubborn, hard one, like banging your head against the wall with situations we're revisiting. Keep all of that in mind as you're moving through this and be graceful with yourself. Just be kind to yourself. Understand you're the only one of you, and that in and of itself is a miracle and magic, right? For those of you that are new, I do a daily reading. It is for all signs. You take it as you read, as you see it. It fits. I speak in broad terms to reach as many people as possible. If it doesn't fit you, that's okay. It doesn't mean anything's broken or wrong. It just means you might be working on something different at this time. If it does fit a certain situation, area, person in your life, please feel free to take the reading, utilize it, allow it to validate you, bring you peace, support you in your decision making. I don't want these readings making the decisions for you, though, guys. You can take them into account, but don't, say, well, that guy on YouTube said, okay? This isn't here to take away your free will. It's here to, just show you what your options are, what's going on, what are we sharing collectively that's going on out there. All right. Please check out the drop down menu. In there is ways of getting hold of me, how to follow my social media, how to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and be notified every time I do another live video. I do these daily, so the content does go up daily. So that's always fun. We watch how the cards build. I will refer to the underpinning energy, which populates at the end of this video on the lower left-hand corner. That's Sunday's reading, and I pull like 4 cards for that to just look at kind of what's underlying these cards that we're looking at as we're going through the week. Like what's the background? What's the subconscious? What's the underlying layer there that's pushing us or motivating us or, having an effect on us in the background that we may not be aware of. Sunday's reading, I would suggest go back and look at it. It was a little bit powerful, and so was last week's reading. I feel like the two kind of work together. There's some sort of, and I think it's all tied to the Scorpio moon. I keep talking about this damn Scorpio moon, but I just see some real weird similarities to the idea of when we're in a full moon, we let go. And the cards are talking about let go and new path, and let go and new path, and all of that. So, with that said, let's get into this. Oh, please share the video out too and leave a question or comment if I didn't say that. I do appreciate them. And if you're new, let me know you're here and you're watching. Just say hello. All right. So, let's see what our card is for this Monday. We've got the 9 of Swords. A little stressed, are we? A little bit worried. Maybe worrying about things that aren't actually really real. Sometimes Nine of Swords can represent nightmares, lack of sleep, insomnia, thoughts that are overtaking our brain that are oftentimes negative and challenging. The one thing about the 9 is that 9s, for me in the tarot deck, mean about like coming to a personal completion, a better understanding, a closing of a chapter for someone personally, right? So if we've been struggling with our thoughts and our beliefs in ourselves, this is the day where those things might really be up for us. And you know why? I hate to keep going back to the Scorpio full moon, but this is the Scorpio full moon reading. It's going to ask you to look, and during a Mercury retrograde, it's going to ask you to look. Retrograde is that it's revisit, revamp, reestablish, reorganize. Anything we missed in the last cycle, we're getting an opportunity to kind of re-look at it again. Now, this 9 of Swords says to me, ooh, this opportunity isn't great for all of us, myself included. I'm just going to use myself as an example. What this 9 of Swords says to me is, okay, Dan, you need to look at your insecurities. You need to look at where you fail yourself in your life, believing that you are not worthy, and that's the the tortured soul in the center of the card who feels trapped, because we're trapped sometimes in our own thoughts or how we communicate, or what the emotional or spiritual vibration we put out there can be totally contradictory to what it is that we want. So I feel like this Nine of Swords is actually a blessing in disguise, because it's trying to show us where our thoughts and our communications are not working for us. They're actually harboring us or harming us, causing us fear, causing us resentment, causing us frustration, and they're locking us in, right? But again, nines are about coming to completion, understanding, acceptance of that. And in that acceptance, then are we only able to be free and to release it, right? And to let it go. Now, underneath this in the Sunday reading was oh my gosh, I gotta look at my notes. It was the Wheel of Fortune. Okay. And this is where it gets dicey, I think, a little bit. Not in a bad way, but like the Wheel of Fortune wants to turn in our favor always. It's kind of like the universe at work in the background through people, situations, energies, experiences. How that comes at us and how we receive it and how we react to it is going to sort of set about the path that we are on. Right? With the Nine of Swords, our reactions might be negative at first, scared, frightened, disgruntled, whatever we're caught up in, or maybe even self-focused. We don't see the Wheel of Fortune presenting us with new opportunities, with new ways of looking at things, with new ways of moving towards things, right? This is our opportunity to get ourselves kind of unstuck in the early part of this week. The wheel wants to carry us along. It may be slowly, sometimes the wheel moves slowly, but that wheel is going to give us more of what we concentrate on, right? So if we're stuck in this Nine of Swords and we're like miserable, we need to understand and acknowledge our misery, and then we need to understand that I deserve or want more, right? And then start to focus on that more that you want, because that's what the Wheel of Fortune will try and steer you to, the forces that are going on behind you and below you, underneath you, so to speak. Wheel of Fortune is a very powerful card. It's a very positive card. It's about things lining up in ways that we didn't otherwise expect. But we have to be open to them. We have to see them. We have to get our hand, see how this woman's hand is down in her head is down in her hands. We need to get our fucking hands off our head and look forward. And start to look at the thoughts that pen us in, the beliefs that limit us, our pictures around what we deserve, what we're worthy of. Because on some level, if you're a true believer, I guess, on some level, everything that we deal with manifests from an internal belief, an internal thought that we somewhere accepted as real, right? Using myself again as an example. My insecurity stems from way back when I was a child, when I believed that, the adults in my life were not present, so it must have been my fault. And I still deal with that at 49 years old. And I have to remind myself consciously, that was then, this is now, I'm no longer that person. And it's not about laying blame with them. And remember too, speaking of blame, this is the stone for this week is forgive. Where can we forgive our thoughts? Our limited beliefs that maybe held us in and kept us trapped. That's kind of my feeling. Where can we start to begin to instead of the woe is me or oh poor me, I can't believe this is happening, which is the stance this woman has, where do we empower ourselves to remove our hands from our face and look boldly in the face of what we're doing, what we're thinking, how we're communicating, and go, oh shit. You know what? I've been underselling myself this entire time. A lot easier said than done, guys. I do it all the time. I get caught up in my own fear, my own insecurities, and next thing I know, I'm operating from that place of lack. But you know what? With the Wheel of Fortune, you know what I'm attracting to me? More lack. More situations that are going to feel the same way until I finally figure it out and go oh shit, you know what? I never deserved any of this anyways. So I'm working on that. And that was part of some of my crying stuff this last week, I think, was because I think what these cards are asking me personally to let go of is some of my own insecurity and my own fear, my own inadequacy. And that's hard because I've carried it with me for so long, right? All right, so let's go to the Sacred Traveler Oracle. Grace and gratitude. Through gratitude, joy expands. What did I say earlier about having grace with ourselves during this period as we go into the full moon, allowing us enough grace to look at our thoughts and be in acceptance of our thoughts, not necessarily to judge them. Our thoughts may not be beneficial. They might stand in the way of us and our goals. They might ridicule ourselves. We might be our own worst critic, But having grace and gratitude for that is what got me this far, but maybe I no longer need to operate in that way, allows us to open up the idea of, again, a new path onto something that's more suited to us, that's in our better interest, that is less harmful to us, is certainly mentally, right? We have this Wheel of Fortune. It seems like the door is being opened, windows, doors are being opened. We have to close the ones we've been standing in so that we can move through the new ones. And to do so with grace and gratitude would empower us to not only do it in that form, right? Gracefully in gratitude, but it would also empower us to move faster, I think. That wheel might actually even speed up. Now, let's go to the grounding stone. And the grounding stone is focus. And I'm not mad at this at all, because there's two different levels of focus that I have going on here in this reading. One is focusing on the things that scare us, the things that cause us unneeded nightmares, the things that hold us back or limit us out of fear of failure or success, or he won't love me, or they don't understand me, or I'll never be seen at work, I'll never be appreciated. Whatever that thought is, whatever that trapping is in your mind, focus on it. Don't necessarily fight against it. Don't resist it. This grace and gratitude says, allow it grace, allow it honor. Say, oh, thank you. I understand why you've been doing this for me for so long. I understand where I picked this up from way back when. And I understand that maybe even for a period of my time in my life, this tactic worked for me. But with that grace and gratitude, we experience that joy around it. We're able to release it more freely. And that should also be a focus of ourselves, being kind to ourselves, being grateful to ourselves during this time as we pass through this and as we begin to release these things. Remember, Scorpio is an extremely deeply emotional, kind of exploring the dark side sign. So when we got a full moon in Scorpio with a Mercury retrograde, some shit's going to be dredged up. I can just tell. And so focusing on it, here's the thing. I don't want you to focus on it where you're splitting hairs or micromanaging it or freaking out by it. The idea of focus here is to just gently give it your attention with grace and gratitude. Acknowledge it for what it is. Don't judge it, and allow it to release itself. Allow the head to come up out of the hands, allow the swords to fall away, and allow yourself the grace and gratitude to understand, okay, that's why I did that for so many years, because it worked at some level. Maybe not for the best, but I'm ready for something more. And this weekly forecast, if you haven't seen it yet, something more is on its way, guys. I can't quite put my finger on it, but it is definitely on its way. So keep that in mind today. Grounding your focus. Focus can also represent, I will say this, intelligence too. And focus is very much tied to the sword suit, which is the mind. So keeping in mind what we focus on, also we will bring more of into our life through that Wheel of Fortune. And even if it's negative, the Wheel of Fortune will bring it to us until we get so bopped up against the head with it so many times, we're like, okay, I can't do this anymore. And then we finally change. So we get an opportunity to slip into this grace and gratitude, focus on the grace and gratitude of it all, be grateful for the thoughts that maybe limited us or scared us or whatever, and then start to let them fall away. And let's see what the Wheel of Fortune has in store for us. What doors open up? What conversations do we have? What people do we meet? What opportunities for forward movement start to abound? All right. Thank you for tuning in. Please hit like, share, comment, subscribe. Leave me a question or comment, and I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. Have a wonderful week. It should be powerful. Thank you so much, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.